Hello, welcome to a live demo on how Visier Embedded Analytics works. Today we're going to do a live demonstration with a bit of an overview to start. We'll do Q&A throughout in the chat and as well take questions at the end. After some intros and a brief overview of who Visier is, we'll demo Visier's reporting and analytics with a conversational interface that you can embed inside of your own software. We'll talk about how Visier enables you to deliver at scale with our multi-tenanted platform. We'll talk about Visier's security framework, which solves for some of the challenging security requirements with human resources data. And we'll talk about how Visier helps handle time series data in HR and some of the challenges that we see vendors struggle with when it comes to handling some of HR's common data practices with backdating changes and setting changes in the future. My name is Zachary Wiens. I'm a solution consultant with Visier, and I'll be taking you through the rest of this demo today. So to start, who is Visier? Visier is a company that 14 years ago set out to build a single platform to unlock people impact through data. I like to describe Visier as one platform with two businesses. On the right-hand side, you can see some of Visier's enterprise customers. Visier has been working with these enterprises over the last 14 years, bringing together multiple different HRIS and payroll systems for them to give them a unified view of across their entire workforce, collecting all of their people data into one place and then serving it back to people analysts, but also managers, directors, and executives. On the left-hand side, you can see some of Visier's embedded partners, large payroll vendors, learning companies, ATS companies. Visier works with these companies to deliver insights and analytics through them with their data to their customers. And so Visier enables these partners to answer questions for their customers without the partner having to invest years and millions of dollars into its own analytics stack. So the platform that Visier provides to its embedded partners out of the box that can be provisioned with a simple API, and we'll talk more about that today, is illustrated on the screen here. This platform can help you collect data from various sources, consolidated into a single data lake. From there, in the middle, you can leverage some of Visier's core technology, its event stream loader to transform data and plot it on a time series. It's got strong time handling capabilities, a query engine that applies security and different role-based access control, as well as one of the unique differentiators of Visier's platform, which is its data model that Visier's embedded partners and customers all standardize onto, which accelerates time to value by unlocking insights quickly without years of iteration on a complex domain like people data. From there are various ways to distribute insights to your end users, whether it's with people-specific content embedded in the flow of work, standard reporting and deep analytics, as well as a natural language interface powered by LLMs, which Visier calls V, but you can also white label. So the demo I'll take you through today has 4 parts. First, we'll show the end user experience, what your customers might experience and see through Visier. We'll then talk about how Visier's platform enables deploying at scale without having to change your underlying data model with a bunch of complex and messy SQL each time you want to add something. Instead, with Visier's platform and approach, you can expand quickly and iteratively, but then also package up different insights and content through Visier's modules. And you can provision new tenants and new customers with the click of a button or an API call. Talk about Visier's robust security framework that's leveraged by payroll vendors and large German banks. And we'll talk about how Visier helps solve one of the complex challenges in HR, which is HR managers and HRBPs, backdating history changes, which makes aggregations very complex. So for the first part, to show off the reporting and analytics with the conversational interface, I'm jumping over to Visier's end user experience. The page that we're looking at on the screen is the homepage. Here you can see we've got a classic dashboard layout with lots of trends covering headcounts and compensation. We show the movement of budgeted compensation throughout the organization, some of the employee experience categories. But what I want to call out to the product and engineering leaders on the call is that what's great about this page is it's all interactive, and every metric or KPI that you see on the screen has a description as well as a more info button that would help end users understand what it is they're looking at on the screen. The benefit that this offers to products teams is you don't need to go and invest in years of first doing the data modeling and data engineering to define metrics in order to provide insights to your end users. But you also then don't have to think about the learning and enablement content that would be needed in order to help that end user understand what it is they're actually looking at. One of the biggest reasons Visier's partners choose Visier is for its data model, the descriptions that come along with it that help end users actually understand what it's looking at, without requiring years of engineering and iteration. For your end users, everything on the screen can be clicked into to then interact more deeply with. You can get insights that are generated with natural language on the right here, and you can even jump into the details of each data point on the screen. This interactivity is really beneficial to end users and because it gives them a great user experience. It's really beneficial to product teams because you don't need to go and build it. One of the great features that everyone loves about Visier is the idea of this capture button here, which captures the visual that you currently have on the screen. This then is organized in a photo library-like page called captures, which we'll show later, but then these can be reused when users or product teams are developing their own content. I'm going to jump now to the guidebooks room. Guidebooks are like a content management system for analytics. It lets products teams and analysts curate content for specific personas, specific industries. Everything that is within Visier is dynamic and fails gracefully. And so if you have a customer who's only sent some data, they haven't sent all of the data that you provide analytics on top of, then guidebooks will gracefully go away and you won't be giving your users an experience where they click on something and then they just see a blank chart, which is one of the common challenges we see in BI. I'm going to jump into the core HR guidebook. We can see different topics organized here, from attrition to organization overview, starts and exits. There's headcount forecasting. One of the most popular topics in this pre-curated guidebook that Visier offers out of the box to its embedded partners is the attrition deep dive. This attrition deep dive takes end users through a different set of visualizations that answer different business questions to help someone understand attrition better. Starts by describing what is the current state of attrition, then moves into a historical analysis of how this is trending. Then it starts to get into the insights layer, which is how do we help someone understand what's driving turnover, who's at risk of leaving next with predictions, and how does resignations compare to the benchmark in the industry. What's great about this analysis and this deep dive approach is it's not just a dashboard with a bunch of visuals, but it's using a data journalistic approach to take someone through an analysis that they might typically have to pay a consultant expensive hourly rate or have an analyst to dive into this for weeks on end. This can be provided out of the box to your customers. Let's jump into the trends now. You can see here that there's a description that helps describe how exits are trending, compares the different exit types to help HR leaders and business leaders understand what's going up and down. There's a lot of different visual options here to show comparisons like we have here on the screen. What's nice about this is Visier doesn't just provide simple bar charts and trend lines, but lots of different visuals for specific use cases and different comparison modes, which is really beneficial in analytics because seeing one data point in isolation is good to know, but being able to compare something gives you much deeper insight. Let's jump into what's driving turnover now, and you can see here that there's the different resignation rates by different groupings, which helps an HR leader or a business leader understand which categories of employees are leaving at a higher rate. You can see based off of the demo data here that it's new hires that are having the worst resignation rates. But if we jump into who's at risk of leaving next, there's some more advanced visualizations here. On the left, there's a predicted resignation rate by organization. Visier's platform offers product teams the ability to, out of the box, provide predictions to your customers and then surface that to them through dashboards. So it's not just the bar chart that's valuable here, it's the prediction behind the scenes that's running for each customer to then be able to help them understand where they are likely to have a problem. That can save engineering and products teams months, if not years, to having to generate that prediction on their own, maintain those data pipelines, validate the predictions all on your own. There's a very useful and valuable functionality in this left visual here called key insights, which is insights generated from a visual. These can be turned on with a toggle. And then you provide natural language to an end user that is describing what it is they're looking at on the chart and what they should be taking away from that chart. The products team, this is really valuable because you don't need to go and figure out how to generate this natural language with AI to be able to answer what it is I'm actually looking at on the screen. This just comes out of the box for you. On the right here is another visual that you can provide to end users out of the box, and it's the driver's chart. What this driver's chart is doing is showing what employee attributes increase resignation rate and decrease resignation rate. You can see on the top row here that new hires, in fact, are the biggest reason that the resignation rate might go up with employee tenure for 0 to 1 years. And on the left, long tenured employees with 5 to 10 years are the least likely to resign. This is a powerful visualization that provides a lot of insight to end users. The value to a product team with this visualization is this is an advanced analytics capability that Visier provides out of the box. If you load in HRIS data, you map to Visier's standard data model of employees with starts and exits. This resignation rate metric would light up, and following that, without any code, the driver's visualization would light up. This would save months of development of trying to figure out how to serve this to end users at scale. Finally, the last section in this analysis is how do resignations compare to my industry? Visier provides benchmarks across HR and compensation metrics. What is the resignation rate? How much should I pay someone in a given location? And many more different KPIs and key data points. And these can be served to end users to help them compare their data to a benchmark to put it into context. Resignation rates they differ greatly across technology, manufacturing, healthcare. And so it's one thing to know how many people have resigned and who's likely to resign next, but what's really insightful is to help an end user understand how does that compare to others in my industry? Is there anything I can realistically even do to make this better? Visier is able to provide these benchmarks to end users because of its standards data model, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. And when we talk about multi-tenancy, but the value of this is that with Visier, there's a standard data model. Customers and partners alike map to it, leverage it to provide insights out of the box. But then that means with that standard data model, Visier can benchmark across its entire data set, which contains over 25 million employee records at this point. Visier doesn't do this without consent. There's always an agreement to be able to do this with your data, but there's a lot of value in being able to unlock Visier's benchmark given how much data is powering it at this point. There's a couple more capabilities I want to show off here in this page before jumping to the natural language interface. We talked about captures. Anything in a guidebook can be copied and edited by an end user on their own. We could show that in another demo if you follow up. There's also this idea of being able to schedule email delivery, share emails to, or share analysis to other users in the system. It can be downloaded. There's even a presenter mode, which allows end users to go through an analysis with live visualizations that can be interacted with on screen, which is very helpful compared to dumping a visualization into a PowerPoint and then not having the ability to change the filters based off of a question you might get in a presentation. Benefit of these capabilities to a product team is it enables a great user experience, and you don't need to build out all of these features on top of some generic BI tool. It's available to you out of the box. Finally, I'm going to show off Visier's natural language conversation interface that enables end users, business leaders to ask questions about their people data in natural language. Visier will come back with an answer to those questions. For product teams, this room is great because it can be white labeled. You can change the name of V, change the welcome text, as well as everything you see here is available through an API. So if you have your own chatbots, you can use this as one of the legs in the stool that is your conversational experience that you provide to end customers. You probably have good APIs and a good handle on how to enable your users to trigger workflows, but you probably don't have an easy way to provide them insights in that chatbot. And so with Visier's V API, you could give them both. Let's start with one of the suggested questions, which is what is the tenure of employees who left? What V is going to go do is it's going to take that question, it's going to translate into a query that can run against Visier's analytics engine. Now, it's the LLMs are used to take the question and turn it into a query. But then that query runs against Visier's analytics engine, and then the analytics engine returns one of those key insights that is not going to an LLM to generate the answer. So there's no risk of hallucination here. And you can be sure that the data that comes back respects the user's security access, the role-based access control. So you don't need to worry about, is the LLM going to hallucinate? Is the LLM going to return a wrong data point? The only thing the LLM is doing is helping translate a question to a query. There's some valuable functionality available from here and beyond just the question. The question can be turned into a visualization with the click of the button. This can get captured for later use. You can jump into the details and you can download the data as a spreadsheet. With the API, if you're thinking about building your own chat experience, all of this functionality comes back in the API endpoint. The narrative that comes back, you can get access to the visualization to embed in your chat experience or the data points that power that visualization. And you could even get a link to be able to then jump the user into Visier's experience if you want them to dive deeper into the data. The V experience also returns links to content if someone wants to dive deeper into what it is they're looking at. From here, though, V keeps all of the conversation in context. So if we say filter by sales, it's going to consider the last question that was asked and its response, and then take into consideration the latest prompt and return a query based off of that. So what this is going to go do is it's going to take the employee exit hour tenure, which was returned and was 3.28 across the board. But we can see when we filter by sales, it jumps up a little bit, showing that the data is dynamically changing based off of the prompt and applying a filter here. So that's some of Visier's reporting and analytics with a conversational interface. But for products teams, you probably don't want to embed or have Visier or have your end customers go into Visier's end user experience. So I'm going to talk about how you can embed Visier's analytics experience in your own application. You can offer a tab-out experience like the one I was demonstrating off of. But you can also embed specific rooms with your own navigation buttons inside of your own application. So you can embed the guidebooks room, that home page, the V room. You can also embed the explore room, the dashboard editing room to give self-serve dashboarding capabilities. You can embed a single analysis inside of the flow of work or behind your own buttons. We see some partners popping up these analyses in a modal in some workflow. And then we even see partners leveraging Visier to embed insights in the flow of work. On this right screenshot here, you can see that you can embed specific visuals, and you consume APIs, whether it's a data query API or the V API, to display insights in the flow of work. With the V API, we're seeing some partners leverage it to curate a prompt that is relevant to what the user is looking at in a workflow, and then leveraging the V API to have that come back with a natural language insight that it gives the user some context about what it is they're doing, dynamically adjusting to their security access time and what it is they're looking at on the screen. When we showed those guidebooks inside of the Visier experience, behind these guidebooks are Visier's data models. And so when you think about analytics and reporting with a conversational interface with Visier, you don't start with a blank slate. You can get access to all of Visier's data models and content that it's been building out and iterating on over the last 14 years. Visier packages up into what it calls embedded applications and makes them available to software vendors to be able to pick which ones are relevant based on the data they have and serve insights off of those to customers. And if you want, you can go and extend Visier's data model, or you can always buy more of those later if you add a new product or acquire a new product, perhaps. And like I was saying, the V APIs are also available to be able to provide insights in the flow of work or build your own chat experience, leveraging Visier as a part of that infrastructure. And one of the key takeaways from this demo segment should be that you can leverage one platform to provide reporting, analytics, and AI experiences to your customers so that you as a product team can enable your business to drive revenue. We're not talking about in this demo is Visier's experience that it provides to software vendors around how to package and price analytics to drive net new revenue or drive customers to higher tiered packages. The next point I want to demonstrate to everyone on the webinar today is how Visier enables deployment at scale with its multi-tenanted platform. Before showing anything, I want to talk about a key architecture concept with Visier's platform, which is its tenant and content hierarchy. When we say content, what we mean is dashboards, analyses, metrics, KPIs, entities and their relationships, different filters. All of this is content. Visier has been developing its content for over 14 years, and it makes it available to its enterprise customers out of the box when they load in their data. For its partners, Visier allows them to inherit all of this content, extend, make it your own, change display names, add new KPIs, add new entities, adding on and expanding from what Visier provides out of the box. And then all of your customers can inherit this content. And with that, that enables you as a product team to provide industry-specific out-of-the-box analytics. One of the capabilities I'll show is modules, which allows you to assign different customers different sets of content. And what's great about Visier is customers themselves could extend this content to make their own analytics experience, taking what you've given them and iterating on that from that out-of-the-box content. I'm going to jump into Visier Studio now. This is the user interface that's used to administer the Visier platform. Everything from integration settings, data modeling, content management, ETL. All of this is managed through here. It can also be everything you do through the UI can also be managed through APIs. And you can see on my tenants page here, I'm in a partner administrating tenant, this green box here. And I have a list of 12 analytic tenants that inherit everything I create in this partner administrating tenant. You can see, though, different tenants have different modules assigned. Some only have a couple, some have more. This is how you, as a partner, can programmatically control which customer gets access to which content based off of which packages they've purchased from you as a software vendor. This makes it really easy to build something once and share it with others without having to worry about weird workarounds to control which customer gets access to which content. With the click of a button or an API call, you can create a new tenant too and assign them different modules as well, very easily. So I think the takeaway from that quick demonstration on multi-tenancy with Visier is that through Visier's platform inheritance concept, you can quickly deploy something leveraging Visier's out-of-the-box content. You can then expand on that and iterate it to make it your own. And it makes deploying at scale easily by providing you an isolated tenant per customer where you can assign them different modules to control what they get access to. The next topic I want to demonstrate to everyone on the call is Visier's security framework. This security framework is used to provide role-based access controls to partners and customers so that you can control who sees what. With people data, you need to make sure that the right people see the right data. Not everyone can see compensation details about everyone else, for example. So Visier has a security framework that it calls its permissions framework. This is like a role. Permissions are like a Lego set where you have different pieces that you use to build up a single role. These pieces can be reused across different permissions, though, for ease of building. The key capabilities here are data security to control population and property level access, basically row and column based access to get cell level control over who sees what. There are content packages to control who sees which metrics and dashboards. And then there are capabilities to control what you can do in the end user experience so that you, as a product team, can easily say this user can perhaps maybe only see a dashboard, but then this other power user or administrator can explore and create their own dashboards. That allows you to provide tiering and different levels of access easily with an API. What it looks like to build a permission is there's two ways to do this. You can do this through Studio, where I'm going to jump into a project and show some of the security screens. All of this can also be managed programmatically through APIs. So you can define different content packages through Studio, controlling who sees what. This can be built out in a project, and then you can preview it against different users so you can easily and quickly test and iterate. You can define different data access sets, so which columns someone might see with a given data access set at a detailed level, but also at an aggregate level, which is basically to say someone can do use this property for an aggregation, like what is the average age, but they might not be able to see everyone's birth date at detail. There are security filters to control which populations someone can see, and then this all comes together through permissions, where you basically say there's this data security, this capability, this content package, and you can compose different roles with those different component pieces. This makes it easy for builders to match up to your own security frameworks and grant access without having to worry that someone might see the wrong data. This enables you to then deliver personalized insights at scale and drive business impact with that by providing different personas like managers, HR business partners, administrators, executives, access to different data and different content relevant to what they care about. The last piece I want to demonstrate to everyone today is how Visier supports handling time series data, which is a common challenge when it comes to delivering analytics in HR. There is no shortage of interesting practices that HR has around entering data into an HRIS or an ATS. For example, it's very common to see someone's job history change overnight. Like HR might come in and say, oh, this person actually was hired at this date, or they actually are going to start at this date, or they actually were promoted to this job at this time and I forgot to enter it for 2 months. All common things we see in data, which makes processing of only new data hard because you need to backdate changes and put that on a time series in order to be able to light up different trends and different insights that then come from those trends. So Visier has two pieces that make this much easier to manage for software vendors. The first is its data room, which provides ELT capabilities to extract data with connectors through different environments. You can then load those into different sources, which act as a staging area for the data, and then that gets mapped into analytic objects. So you can see here my employee object has 17 events attached to it, and this comes from all these different tables in the ELT layer of Visier's platform. Visier has connectors to multiple different source systems, whether it's APIs, Gong, S3, BigQuery, different HRIS and ATS, ticketing, collaboration systems, Oracle, Salesforce, Snowflake. And then these all get loaded into sources where each day new records or each hour new records are going to come in and be loaded into a source. But then Visier's mapping capabilities make it easy to define how to put that data on a time series and how to handle it. So whether it's a snapshot of data every day or a fact table-like set of data that's coming in, here's your pending facts, or perhaps you're shifting things along a time series or fully restating it each time that data comes in. All capabilities that Visier supports through what we call mapping configurations. And there's different settings to describe what type of data is coming in from a source and how to handle overrides. And so override behavior is a very powerful capability. It's one of the deeper capabilities in Visier's platform that tells the transformation system how to handle records coming in when there's a conflict and whether you should override or not override. There's more details in Visier's documentation site on this. What's nice about the mappings room too is this technology gives you the ability to map from your source data to Visier's analytic data model. And there's a nice set of capabilities here to preview the transformation you're applying and even see a distribution of the records to quickly catch any unknowns or nulls that might be happening from a bad transformation rule. This makes building much, much easier than working with SQL out of the box with no preview functionality. So a little bit of what this looks like under the hood is you define those override behaviors and mappings, and from different sources, Visier loads per entity onto an event stream, handles overrides and backdating, allowing you to construct a time series for each employee or requisition or application. And Visier has mechanisms and protocols to handle corrections and restatements to build an effective employee source that can then be used for analysis. So when you think about delivering analytics at scale, it's one of the key challenges for data engineering teams is being able to build a time series that handles all of the interesting data practices that HR has developed over the years. So that's the demo for today. Thank everyone for attending. One of the things we want to leave you with is this idea that this isn't new to Visier. Visier has been working with its embedded partners for many years now. And even with its AI technology, Visier's deployed to over 2 million users. And this is powered by Visier's people data platform. And as you can see on the screen here, this can be white labeled and made to look like your own. And it's great to see HR directors from hospitality groups getting access to Visier and getting access to the insights powered by Visier through its natural language interface. And you can see in the quote that this director is very happy to be able to just type, ask a question, and get an answer, all powered by Visier. If there's any questions, we'll take them now. And if not, we'll say thank you and say that you can go to the URL below on the screen to request a demo at any time. We'd love to chat more about Visier's capabilities or how we might be able to help you with some of your current business priorities.